The shocking truth about Zach LaVine is he is ranked in the top 10 in NBA shooting guards. We're going to be talking about an article by Hoops Hype that has ranked 30 shooting guards and Zach LaVine being in the top 10. We're going to be talking about what this means for Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls. This is another episode of Bulls Digest, and I am your host, Rico Greenhowe. And before we go ahead and jump into the content today, I wanted to go ahead and share a special message from our sponsor of the video, NordVPN. Hopefully the Chicago Bulls can get a clearer plan and move the franchise forward. Unlike the Chicago Bulls, you can have a plan when it comes to protecting your devices from online threats. That's right. The best way to do this is with NordVPN, which you can get by clicking the link in the description to this video. With NordVPN Threat Protection Pro, you can block against fake websites, against phishing, and other fraud and other scams online. That's right. You can go ahead and protect your Wi-Fi from being compromised with a single click. You can encrypt and defend your virtual private network. Make sure that you go ahead and you improve your security and block pop-ups. And once again, you can go ahead and get this with nordvpn.com/bulls. This is an exclusive offer where you get 4 months of extra service along with Nord's risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, whether you believe it or not, Zach LaVine is a good basketball player. I understand the narrative that has been around Zach LaVine. And, a lot of people have forgotten that this guy can absolutely play some good basketball. I don't know if you've been paying attention as of late to some of the workouts that he's had out in LA. There was the open run where he is just cooking with Jaime Jaquez of the Miami Heat. But you get a chance to see that Zach LaVine is an exceptional scorer, and he makes it look exceptionally easy. And I think that a lot of people forget about how good Zach LaVine is and can be because of all the injuries that he's had, and then also too all the nonsense that's been surrounding Zach LaVine, whether it's just the reported feud with Billy Donovan in the front office and the whole did he get surgery to avoid a trade and all that stuff like that. But anyway, this article really sheds light into how good Zach LaVine is, and I can tell you this, Zach LaVine is rated higher than some NBA champions at the two-guard position, all right? And so at this point in time, the players, that are ahead of him, you have Anthony Edwards, you have Devin Booker, you have Donovan Mitchell, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jalen Williams, and you also have Desmond Bane, and then you have Zach LaVine. But I think that really the most important thing about this article is it essentially says in one line, and I think it really sums up what is going on with Chicago and with the Zach LaVine situation. I think it just really puts it all together in this particular one line. And so this is exactly what this article is. You can find it on Hoops Hype, ranking the top 30 shooting guards. But in this one line, I just think that it says it all. It says, a classic example of a player being worse than his contract, but better than his reputation. One more time, a classic example of a player being worse than his contract, but better than his reputation. All right, and so just breaking down what that said, I think that really sums it up for me, because I've said this now as I've drawn my conclusion on this situation, is that the Chicago Bulls, when they signed him, they signed Zach LaVine in hopes that he would become the franchise player. And let's be honest, that has not happened. But like we're saying here, Zach LaVine is a very good basketball player still, all right? He is a player that has become a 2-time All-Star with the Chicago Bulls. And in fact, he won a gold medal, all right, while he was a member of the Chicago Bulls, all right? And so he has done some things since he has been in a Chicago Bulls uniform. It's just that we have not got a whole bunch of wins, and we have not been able to look at Zach LaVine and say, we can build build around him in the future. In fact, the Chicago Bulls, when they went ahead and signed him to the contract thinking he would be the franchise player, well, they built around him accordingly, and that did not work out. And so now you see the Chicago Bulls trying to pivot, all right? And so I just think that, yes, the contract situation and the injuries, I think, really have really put a dark cloud over, just how good Zach LaVine is and this whole reputation. And so I think for the fans out there that like Zach LaVine, you absolutely love this. He is in the top 10, and I think it is very appropriate, all right? Because when you look at the rest of the guards behind him, I must say that, yes, I think that Zach LaVine does offer a lot. But some of the players that I think that should have been higher might have been Klay Thompson, even though I know he's past his prime, but I think he could have been a little bit higher than 20th. And then also, too, KCP. I think he was like 23rd or something like that. I think he absolutely could have been higher. I mean, just off the sheer fact that these guys have won some NBA championships and they can still help a team win at a high level, I thought that they should have been higher on the list. But more importantly, the one thing that it talks about, too, in this article as you go down a little bit more, it talks about the fact that even though Zach LaVine is going through it with Billy Donovan and they have a reported feud, they're thinking that there is a possibility that Zach LaVine has a bounce back season this year. They're thinking that Zach LaVine is going to be healthy, and there's evidence right now of him being healthy with these videos that have surfaced in open runs and workouts, so that looks good right now. Now, I know that's one thing to do it in an open run. It's another thing to do it against some NBA talent out there, so that's what I'm curious to see. But more importantly, yes, I believe if Zach LaVine is available for games and he plays 65 plus, he absolutely could rebuild this reputation. I just don't know if it is a situation that they're suggesting where they think that he can rebuild it with the Chicago Bulls and continue this relationship. I'm just not sure if that can happen. There's so much back and forth that's been going on between the two, and it's really left, I think, a lot of these Chicago fans really just in arms because we don't know what is true and what is not true. But the one thing that I will commend Zach LaVine on is I think he's been professional. You don't see Zach LaVine coming out with these anonymous quotes about the team, but you see the team having anonymous quotes about Zach LaVine. So whatever happens with Zach LaVine, I wish him the best. I got a chance to watch him play when he was in college at UCLA, and I must say that, just as smooth as he looked there in UCLA, he still looks as smooth when it comes to playing the professional game. And I think that there is a chance for him to get into a winning situation. He's just got to get onto the right team where he is probably the third or fourth best option at that. And so with this being said, do you think that Zach LaVine should be ranked in the top 10 in NBA shooting guards right now? Do you feel like Zach LaVine should be out of the top 30? Do you feel like, look, it is possible for Zach LaVine to bounce back this year with the Chicago Bulls and perhaps continue this relationship? Or do you feel like, look, this has got to end. They've got to part ways. So let me know in the comments what you are thinking. And before we jump out of here, just want to let you know that 72.9% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it would mean a lot to me as we try to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. So I very much appreciate the comments out there and the feedback. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And even though we might be shocked that Zach LaVine's in the top 10 and he's going to be back with us and we're probably not going to be able to trade him, I'm still saying let's go Bulls, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.